Hey there, bibliophiles and those raising bibliophiles. Today's book review is going to finish up with a middle school series, maybe tween series, but it's the Framed series by James Ponti. And so if you remember, or if you've seen my earlier videos, there was Framed, there was Vanished. I don't believe I did a video on Framed, but I did one on Vanished, and this is the third installment, and it's called Trapped. And the book itself is a really good book. It continues on with the same story from before. So you have the theory of all small things, TOAST, and that's what the main characters use to help solve FBI mysteries. And so it does continue with Margaret Campbell and Florian Bates, who are these assets of the FBI. And the story opens up just like all the other ones. So you're kind of in the middle of what's taking place, and then the story is going to go back to the beginning and catch you up on what was taking place, and then you'll finish out from where you kind of began. In this book, the case to solve centers around the Library of Congress. And so there's the Russian Imperial Collection and an undercover Russian spy. And so they're also trying to solve this case, but then Marcus is actually being sort of set up for being a part of a crime. And so the characters are very quickly trying to solve the case, but also to clear Marcus's name. And in the midst of that, you'll find that they go to get help from Margaret's mother or father. And if you're familiar with the earlier part of the series, so in book 1, Florian is very clear and finds out who Margaret's biological father is. She's adopted, and so she's very curious and she wants to know more about her biological parents, which is completely understandable. And in this book, eventually at the end, like, all is revealed because they do go to get help from him, unbeknownst to her that it's actually her father. But that is the way that they end up ultimately solving the case and helping him. And one of the great things about him is that he ends up turning and wanting to leave his life of crime. And he kind of tells her, without her quite knowing yet, that he's her father. He says, "You need to know this, that I'm not a good person." And she responds, "That doesn't mean you can't become one." And so that's a really cool idea and theme in the story, and the fact that, Nick the Knife, that one of the bad guys, ends up sort of seeing this moment of redemption and forgiveness. And so that's a really cool thing. So if you want to talk about that with your children, I think that's a great theme or a great point to talk about, that there is this idea of redemption, that we can turn from our past. There is repentance and being able to be a new creation and grow and learn in a new life. The readers are also going to see in this particular book that Margaret is obviously struggling with her identity. The fact that she's adopted is one thing, but there's also this sort of struggle trying to figure out what she wants to do with her hair. She is of African American descent, and so trying to figure out if she wants to cut her hair or not is kind of this big thing. And Florian, of course, because he's a boy, he's like, "I don't understand this." But it's really cool that she's really trying to figure out who she is, how does she consider herself, and all those wonderful things. Margaret does say wonderful things about her adoptive parents to Nick. And so when they're having a conversation, and again, she still is not sure that this is her biological father, but she's relaying about the life that they have built for her. I really like the strong fatherly influence and male role models that are in this book. While there are those that maybe try to seek to diminish these roles, those are really strong roles that are presented in the book. Not only with Nick the Knife sort of stepping in, the children's parents help in many regards, Florian's mother, and we see Margaret's parents, who are lawyers, trying to help Marcus. And we also have Marcus as a strong male role model in this book and trying to help them. So all is really cool in that regard, and so something that is encouraging to have young readers read, that they're not seeing parents portrayed as frivolous and dumb. Readers in this novel will find out that Marcus was once engaged to one of the suspects in the case. In the end, she had nothing to do with it, and in fact, she helps clear his name. However, 9 years ago, with his work with the FBI, did end their relationship, and so that is just like a little piece of extra information given in the story. And again, the idea of truth and the theme of truth is a center piece in this novel, because they're not only trying to uncover these mysterious cases and solve crimes, but you have the whole thing going on with Nick the Knife, who's really Margaret's father. But you also have Florian's been keeping the secret this whole time. And so that sort of comes to a head towards the end of the novel, and sort of negotiating that and figuring that out and moving forward to still be friends. But Florian knows that, it was hard, like it was wrong. And so I think that's a good point to talk about with your readers, and you can kind of explore, like, do you think Florian did the right thing? Should he have done something different? It's just a good point of conversation, and that you can kind of talk about those with your children. So I think that this novel offers a lot of opportunities for conversation. It also is just a good, clean read that finishes out a great series, that if your children like mysteries, if they like adventure, intrigue, if you live in the DC area and you're familiar with some localities, like that could be really engaging and really fun for your readers. So if you're looking for a good tween read, a good series, I definitely recommend the Framed series by James Ponti. And this particular book, Trapped, was the final installment of that series. And again, if you're looking for something great that you know that your children can read and is clean and going to have good themes, then I would definitely check out this series.